get down. Yeah, let's get it. See what one of these is worth. Okay. 'Open your gate. 5 cents a pound. 10 cents a pound. 20, 30, 40, 50. 50 cents a pound. You're out, John. 60, 70, 80. 70 bucks. S1. 50. 55, 55, you get 5, 55, 60, you get 5, going to be 70, you get a 5, going to be 75, going to be 80 cents a pound, going to be 85 there, going to be 85 and 90 there, going to be 95, and $95 bill, going to be $100 here, going to be 105, going to be 110, going to be 110, but 10, going to be 110, 15, $1.10 at 15, going to be 110 at 15, going to be 110, going to be 115 near S, 110, 4X. Yeah, it's down. 7 to 10 years old, daughter. 105, and 105 here, good 105, 85, 85, and 10, good 105, good 110, good 105, 110, and 110, 15, 20, and 20, 20, now 5, now 30, good 30, now 30, now 30 here, good 30, 25, now 30, and 25, good 30 here, and 25, yes, you're out, John, 25, good 30, John, you're out 30, and 35, and 35 here, 35, 35, 35, 35, good 35, good 35, good 35, good 35, good 35, 35 here, sold 130, S3. Eight to 10, 120. 125, and 25, and 25 here, 25, 25, 25, 25, going to be 125, 30, and 32 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 35 here, 37 and a half, 37 and a half, 40, going to get 40, going to get 42 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 45, 750, and 47 and a half, 50 there, going to be 150, going to get 50 and 50 there, going to be $1.50, and 50 there now, 50 and 50 and 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, and here, sort of 147.50 D1. Yeah. 9 by 5. Huh? 8-year-old and 9-year-old, they're both 5 months bred. 2,000 and 2,000. Able to get 2 and 2,000. Able to get 2,000. Able to get 2,000. Going to be 15, 50 and 15 and a half here. Going to be 16. Going to be 17. Going to be 18. Going to be 18, 50. 18 and a half and 19. Going to be 19, 50 and a half. Going to be 19, 50 and 19 and a half. Now 2 and 2,000. 50 and a half. Going to be 20, 51 here. 21, 50 and 20 and a half. Going to be 2,200. Going to be 22 and a half. Going to be 2 and a half. Now 3 and 2,300. Able to get 300 and 23. Able to get 3. 23. 23, 23, 23 here, Chris. 22 and a half, 56. Got a big boo-boo. I saw it. I was actually watching that game. 7 to 10, they're open, 120. 125, and 25 30, and 25 30, and 25 30, and 25 sound, 30 down, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 37 of 37 of going to be 40, going to get 40, going to get 40, 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 250, and 40, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 40, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half here, Booker, 140. Went to the OU game. My boy went to the OU game. They did? I didn't know that. Oh, dang. Be lots of openings next year. 135, and 35, and 37, 50, now 40, and 40, we get 2 and a half, 45, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 50, we get 50, we get 52 and a half, we get 2 and a half, we get 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 to 67, and 57 now, hey, 57, going to be $1.57, going to be 57, get 9, and down high, going to be $9.60, $1.60 pound, going to be $9.60, going to be 159, going to be 60 here, Booker, 159. Eight, 10, 120. 125, 25, and 25, 25, 27, and a half, 30, and 2 and a half, 35, 35, 37, and 37, and 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, mid 40, and 43, 40, 42 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a 5, and 45, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, going to be half here, going to be 47 and a half here, Chris, 145 on 20. Seven and 8, they're open, $1. 105, and 105 here, good to 105 here, 105, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5 and 10, good to be 110, 15, and 15, 20 here, good to be 125, good to be 125, 25, 25, 25, 25, 30, and 30, 30 there, 35, 35, 35, 40, we get 40, we get 40, 35, 40, and 35, 45, and 45, 50, we get 50, we get 50, 45, we get 50, there, good to be 45, we get 50, Chris, 145, 15. You doing all that stuff? What's going on with it? Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
They didn't have no internet or phone lines for 2 days. They worked through Thursday.
135, and 35, and 35, 35, 30, 40, you're going to be 35, 40, you get 40, 45, you get 45, 45, 45, 45, yeah, down here 50, and 5, and 55, 60, 65, and 70, you're going to be 175, going to be 80, going to be 85, 85, and 90, going to be 190, not 2, and 205, going to be 210, going to be 210, going to be 210, going to be 210 here, Chris, 205, 4X, 3X.
What's your people saying about the market?
They say just get ready. Hang on. 9, 10-year-old to 4 months bred. 125. 125, 25, and 25, 25, 25, and 30, 125, we get 35, 35, 35, 40, we get 40, and 2 and a half, 42 and a half, 5, and 45, 47 and 47, and 50, we get 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and 60, and 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, we get 5, and 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, going to be 172 and a half, going to be 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 750, and now headed there, going to be 82 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 85, 87 and a half, 87 and 90, $1.90 pound, going to be 90, we get 90, going to be 90, we get 90 here, Chris. 187 and a half on number 50, just 5. 7 and 8 year old guys. They are 3 and 4 months bred. 1500, 15 and a half, and 15 and a half here. Half here. Half here. Going to be 1550 and 1600 and a half here. 17 and 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 1800 and 18 and a half. Going to be 18, 19 and 19 2 and 2001 here. 21 2, 2 3 and 23 3 and 4 and 24 23 and a half and 23 and a half 4 and 24 24 24 and a half. Going to be 24 and a half 5 and 2500 and a half here. 5 and a half. Going to be 2550 and 25 and a half here. 5 and a half 25 and a half here. Sort of a 2500. Chris 56. Young too. They're $2. 205 and 205 here. 5 here. Going to be 205 and 10 and 210 and 210 and 15. Going to be 220, 220 bit 20 and 220. Going to be 220. Going to get 220. Going to be 220. Going to be 20 bit 25 and 25 and 30. Going to get 230. Going to get 230. Going to get 25. Going to be 30 and 25 and 30. Going to get 35 and 35. Yet again 40 and 240. Going to get 40. Going to get 40. 240. 40. 40. Going to get 40. 10. 40 here. So about 235. Ricardo. Six-year-olds here, $1.30. 135 and 35 and 35, 35, 35, 37 and 37 and 37 and 37 and 37 and 40 and 40. We get 2 and a half. Going to be 2 and a half. We get 5 and 45, 47 and 5, 47 and 47 and 47 and going to be 47.50 and now 50. $1.50 pound 2 and a half. We get 2 and a half. We get 2 and a half. We get 5 and 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and 55, 57 and a half. Going to be 57 and a half here. So 155 Booker. No. There's a shortage of them in there. That's what I've been hearing for a couple years. A lot of years. 130. They ever come to my place and ask. 135. 135 and 35 and 35, 35, 35, 37 and 35, 37 and 37 and 37 and 37 and going to be 37.50 and 35 here, 35 here, 35 here, 37 and half 40 and half 40. You get 2 and a half. Going to be 40 and 2 and a half on 3 and 43, 45 here, 43, 5, 43, 5, 43, 5. Booker 143. They've been to your house?
They don't even know where I live. Your brother sold a pig Saturday.
The Yorkshire.
Yeah, then won the show
Yeah.
Sunday.
I see some of you picture of it.
$800.
$1.50. $1.55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 60, and 5 and 75 and 75, 75, 75, 80, going to be 180, going to be 180. You get 80 now, 85, 85, 85, 85, 82, 50, 82 and a half, going to be 82 and a half, going to be 80, we get 2 and a half, going to be 82 and a half here, giving Bull 180.
Several bulls gone. They'll probably be a little while before they get to them.
Bull Capital.
Big bulls.
$165 and 65, 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 70, 70, 2 and a half, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 72, 55 and 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75. You get 5 here, 35 and 75 and 75 here, 75, 73, 75, 75, 77, 75, get 7 and 75. Going to be 77, 87, 87. Going to be 7 here, going to be 7. Sold 175, whole 7. 135, and 35, we get 35, and 35, 40, and 40, and 35, 40, we get 40, 35, going to be 140, we get 40, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, we get 5, and 45, 50, 10, 50, 10, 50, you get 55, 55, 60, and now 60 there, going to be 160, Jonathan, you're out, 60, and 55, 65, and zig 5, zig 5, zig 5, zig 5, zig 5, we get 5 here, $65, we get 5, we get 5 here, whole, 160, on 6. $55, and 55, 55, 75, 55, 57, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 60, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 7, 7, 7, 70, now 70, 70, going to be 70, £1.70 now, 72 and a half, and 70, 2 and a half here, given 170. $1.50. 155, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, 55, 57, 57, 60, and down 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, bit of a 2 and a half, going to be 5, and 65, 7 and a half, 70, now 70, now 70, 2 and a half, 5, and 75, 75 here, 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75 here, sold, 172 and a half, Cavernous Bull, Cavernous Bull, Bull X. Yeah. $135, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 40, 45, 5, 50, 55, going to be 16 half highs, 70, 170, 170, 170, 170, 177 and a half, 70, and half 70, and half 70, 70, 70, going to be 70, 70, sold 167.50, whole 7, 6. $155, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7, 50, 57, 55, 57, 7, 57, 55, 57, 7, 7, 51, and 51, and 50, 51 here, 51, 51, 51, 51, 30, and 35 here, 37, 40, then 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 45, you get 47, 47, 47, 50, 2 and a half, and 52 and a half, 2 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 and a half here, sort of 150, Cavernous Bull X. $125, and 25, 30, and 25, we get 30, and 25, we get 30, 25, going to be 30, now 30, now 35, now 40, we get 40, we get 40, we get 5, 50, and 50, 45, 50, 45, 50, John, your hand, 45, 50, and 45, 50 here, 50 there, and now 7 and a half, 50, and 50, 50, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50, 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 1, 3, and 53 and a half, 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, you get 5, 55, now 5 here, sold 153, whole 6. $165, and 7 and a half, 72 and a half, 75, 75, 77 and a half, 83, going to be 82 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, 5, 85, 85, 85, 87 and a half, 87 and a half, 87 and a half, 87 and a half, going to be 87 and a half, 87 and a half, going to be 87 and a half, 90, and how 90, you get 90 there, going to be 90, you get 90, going to be 89, 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 going to be 9, sold, 188, Gibbon Boo. Yes, sir. Dollar 15. Two and a half. 50. We get 2.5. We get 55. 57 and a half. Going to be 60. We get 2.5. 2.5. 5. 7.5. And 7.5. House 70. 172 and a half. 72 and a half. 75. And 75 here. 75 here. 75. 75. 75. 75. You get 5 here. Sold. 72 and a half. Given bull.
Hold on, hold on. He's coming back.
172 and a half. Given bulls though.
It's possible.
Fly's already bad.
Does that help any? Yeah. He's still pretty full.
$10 and a pound, dollar. 105 and 105, 105, we get 5, going to be 10, going to be 10, we get 15, 120, we get 5, 125, 30, and 35 here, 35, 32 and a half, going to be 30, that 2 and a half, going to be 30, that 2 and a half, that 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, and 32 and a half, Troy, yeah, 32 and a half, going to be 5, tied, 32 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a sold, 130, Booker, I bet, tie, no, not a thing, both start with a T though. 135 and 35 and 35, 35, 37 and 37 and 42 and a half, 45, 47 and going to be 50 and 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and 5 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 and 55 here, 55 here, 55, 57 and 57 and 57 and 57 and 57, 50 and 57 and going to be 57 and 57 and a half here, D, 155, 2. $55 and 55, 57 and 57 and 57 and 7 and 60, we get 60, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5 and 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70 now, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 72, 51, 3 and 73 and 71, 73, we get 3, 71, going to be 3, we get 3, we get 3, we get 3 and a half, 3 here, book 171. Cow market's still good. Yeah, not very many. 2-year-old, $1.50. $1.50, $1.50, 30, we get 50, we get 50 and a half, 55, 55, 55, you get 5, 55, 55, 55, south, you get 5 and a half, 5, and 55, and 55, yeah, 55, 60, now 62 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, we get 5, now 70, now 5, and 75, give 80, 85 here, 85, 90, and 90 here, 90, we get 90, going to be 90, we get 90, and 90 here, sold 185 S, 11X.
Here's some meeting with Mexico this week.
6 years old, she's 4 months. Pretty good little cow, guys, I think. 2,000. 20, 100, and 21, and 21, and 20, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 2100, 100, 1, now 1, and 2100, and 2100, 1 here, 1 here, that's 2007. $1. $1 pound, and $1.05, and $100.05 here, going to be $100.05 here, going to be $105, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5 here, 50 cents a pound, 60 cents a pound, 60, 70, 80, and 90, and 90, and now 80, 90, there, you're going to be 90, going to be 80, we get 90, going to be 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, and 95, 95, we get 95, we get 95, we get 95, we get 95 here, S, 91. Five-year-old, $1.50. 55, 55, jigga 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, 2.5, 2.5, 52.5, 52.5, good to be 2.5, good to be 2.5, good to be 2.5, good to be 2.5. Here, Camus, 153. Five by five. Somebody little project someday, $1,000. 10, 1100, and 10, 11, 1,000, 1100, going to be 1100, and 12, 11, 12, and 13, even to 13, even to 13, even to 14, even to 14, even to 1400, and 1550, even to 15, even to 15, going to be 14, even to 15, going to be 14, 1500, and 1500 about there, even to 15, even to 15, even to 15, even to 15, here, 14, Chris, number 4. Yeah, for that second back, they just looked at me like they ran right to it and sniffed around, and then kept balling. I knew it was because I had enough just for Saturday. I didn't want to go to the store because I'll get some Sunday. $1.50. Now 5 and 55 and 55. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. If you get 2.5, 2.5, 55, 55, 55, 7.5, 57, 57, 60, and now 60 there. $1.60 there. 160, 2.5, and 2.5 here. Half here. Chris, 160, 20. Turnout. 135 and 35. You get 5 here, 35, 35, 37, 40, you get 40, you get 2.5, 45, 45, 45 here, 45, and 47, 47, 47, 47, 50, and 40, you get 7, 47 here, given 145. $10 years and 5 months. 135 and 35. You get 5 here, 35, 35, 35, 40, and 35, 40, 40, 40, you get 40, you get 5, you get 5, you get 5, 45, 45, 50, 5, and 55, 55, 55, 60, and 5, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, you get 5, 65, you get 5, you get 5, and 5 here, Chris, 160, 16X. 9 years and she's up on 120. 125, and 45, now 39, 32, 35, 37, 37, 37, going to be 37, 50, and 30, 7, going to be 37, 40, and half 40, 40, 40, 42, you get 2.5, 45, 45, 45, 45, and 45, 5 here, going to be 45, 5 here, 45 there, 45 here, Booker, 142 and a half.
It's better not to look. Starting on Jade's mom and dad.
Here's Jade's mom and dad, Eric and Sherry. Jensen's down there at Minko. There's 10-year-old. They are 3 and 4 months bred. Nice cows, guys. 2,000, 2050, 20 and a half here, have a hand, going to be 2050, and 20 and a hand, 2050 and a half here, going to be 2050, and 20 and a half here, have a hand, going to be 20 and a half here, going to be 2050, and 20 and a half one, and 21, 21 and a half here, going to be 2, now 2250, and half 3, 3, and 3 and a half, going to be 2350, and 23 and a half here, half here, Chris, 2300 on 5.
I think these are like
8 to 10 years old. 3 to 5 months. They got good calves, guys. When they bring them calves to town, they always kind of top the market. Pretty gentle's right. Guys, I'm gonna weigh the cows. You can take them home, calve them out if you like to. They're all 10 years old, 3 to 4 months bred. $1.20. 125, you 25, you 25, and 25, 30, we get 30, we get 5, we get 35, 40 here, 45, 45, 55, 5, 55, 60, and 5, and now 70, you're going to be 170, you have 5, $1.75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 80, $1.80 here, 75, 80, and 75, you're going to be 180 here, 75, going to be 80, 75, going to be 180, 75, going to be 180, and 75, going to be 80 there, 75, going to be 80 here, 75, going to be 80 down, 80 there, going to be 80, sold 175, Chris, 16X. That dollar out. 1900. Here's the open cows. 135, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, 40, 40, and 2.5, 45, 45, 45, 45, 47, 47, 50, 55, 55, 50, you're going to be 150, 55, 2.5, you get 2.5, and 55, 55, 7.5, 57, 60, now 60, 60, now 60, and 60 there, 160, $1.60, going to be 60, we get 60, we get 60 here, Booker, 157.5, 11. Where do you get that? 1859.
Thought it was 57 and a half.
Yeah, it was 57 and a half. Yeah, because I was asking $1.60. Yeah, yeah.
These are all got a little slow as is.
All got a little something on them. Dollar. 105. No. 105. And 105 here. You're going to be 105. You get 5. You get 5 and 10. You're going to be 110. You get 15. And 15, 20 here. You're going to be 120. You're going to be 20. 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 And 20. And 25. And 25, 22 and a half. You're going to be 21. And 21 here. You're going to be 21, 21, 21, 21 here. So 120. Put them on calf and a 6. 120. Calf 6. Nine by 4 and a 9 by 5. 2,000. 2050, 20 and a half here, half and a half here, going to be 1850, 18 and a half here, 18 and a half, going to be 18, 1900, and 19 here, 18, 15, 19, bit of 19, bit of 19, bit of 19, bit of 1900, sold 18 and a half, Chris 5. $16X. $125, 25, and 25, 25, 25, 25, 7.5, 30, 30, that 2.5, 35, 37, 1.5, 40, 140, 140, and 40, that 2.5, 2.5, 5, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 47, 47, 50, and 50, 1, and 51, 2, 2, 3, 53, 4, 4, 5, now 55, 6, and 55, 6, 7, and 57, and 7, 57, 8, 57, 8, 57, 8, 57, $8, and 57, 8 here, 57, going to be $8, 57 here, going to be going to be Booker, 157.11.
Did it rain the whole game?
No, we never really got wet. Yeah, we got to a point where the sun popped out and everybody was shedding clothes. It got hot. 2 years or 4 months bred, 1,500. 15, 16, and 15, 16, and 15, 100 and a half, and 15, and a half, here, going to be 16, here, having 17, now 17 and a half, 18, 18 and a half, going to be 18 and a half, going to be 19, 50, and 19 and a half, going to be 2,000, and 2,000, going to be 2,001, and 21, 21, 21, 2, 21, 200, 21, 200, going to be 2,200, and 2,200, and 23, and 23, 53, and 4, and 23, and 4, 23, 50 and a half, here, going to be 23 and a half, here, total about 2,300. What's the name? Rose? Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Three and 4 year olds or 3 and 4 months bred? Same good cattle, 2,000, 20, 50, 20 and a half, having a hand on 1, and 21, 21, 21, 21 and a half, 21, 50, now half, now 2, 20, you get half, 21 and a half, now 2, and 2,200, and 22, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to 3, and 2,300, now half, 23 and a half, 24, and 24, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 5, and 2,500 here, 500, now 5, half, and 25 going to be 25, 50, 600, and 2,600 here, 5 going to be 6 and a half, and 27, and 27 and 7 and 7 and 7, 2,700, and 2,700 and 7 and 7 and 7 and 7, going to be 2,700 S, 26 and a half, 7X. 5 and 6 years old, they're 4 and 5 months. That's little ladies here, 2,000, 2,100, yeah, 2,100, 2,100, 100 here, going to be 2,100, and 22, and 22, now 3, and 22 and a half here, now 3, now 100, now 3 and a half, 23, 50, now 4, and 2,400 here, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, going to be 25, and 2,500 here, now half, and 25, 600 here, 5 going to be 2,600, and 2,600 here, 5 going to be 2,600 and a half, and 26 and a half here, half here, going to be have here, Terry, 2,600, 5. Seven and 8 year old, they're 3 months, 1,500. 15 and a half, 15 and a half, going to be 15 and a half, and 15 and a half, half here, going to be 15, 50, and 15 and a half, half here, 16, and now half here, 17, half, and 17 and a half, 18 here, 18 and a half, 19, and 19 and a half, 19 and a half, 19, 50, and 19 and a half here, half here, Chris, 1,900 on 4. Eight to 10 years old, William cows, 125 and 25, 25 and 25, 25, 25, 25, 25 here, 125 here, 20 and 22 and a half, going to be 20, going to get 2 and a half, going to 5 and 25, 27 and a half, 30, going to get 30, going to be 30 and 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 250 and 32 and a half, going to be 30 and 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half here, Booker, 130. Five to 6 years old. Fitzgerald's down at Minko. 8 months, 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months bred, guys. 5 and 6 years old. Wow, what a deal. 2,500 and 25 and 2,500 here, 25, 25, 25, 600 and 25, 6, 7 and 7 and 7 here, 9, 3, 9, 3 and 29, 3,000 and 25, 3 and 25, 3, going to be 3, 3, 29, 3 and 3,000, going to be 25, 3,000, going to be 25, 3,000 S, 2,900 on 7. Here comes 10 more. 7 and 8 year old cows. 6 to 8 months, guys. 2,000 Fitzgeralds. 2,100 and 2,100 2100 and 23 4 and 4 5 and 25 and 25 and a half here 600 and 26 and a half here 7 and 27 and a half here 7 and a half here 8 and 28 and a half 9 and 29 and 3,000 3,000 what about a half 9 and a half and 9 and a half and 29 and a half 9 and a half 9 and a half going to be 29.50 and 20 9 and a half going to be 29 and a half 9 and a half 9 and a half here going to be 29.50 and 20 9 and a half going to be 9 and a half 9 and a half here so about 2,900 S7. Seven and 8 year olds are 3 to 5 months. Later Springer calvers. 2,000, 2,100, and 2,100, 21, 2, and 21, 2, 3, and 23 and a half, 23, 50 and a half, you're going to be 24, and 2400 and a half, 4 and a half, you get 4 and a half, 40, 40, and 24 and a half, 4 and a half, you get 5, and now 5, and 25 and a half, 5 going to be 2,600, and 2,600, 5 going to be 2,600, so 2,550. Wolf. Two biggest here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7, 57, 55, 57, 57, 57, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7, 57, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 here, sold 155 on Booker. $135, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 5 here, 35 here, 35, 37, 37, going to be 40, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 47, 47, 50, going to get 50, 50, 50 here, 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a 5, and 55 here, 55, 57, 57, 57, 57, 50, and 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57 and a half here, Chris, 155, nothing, and Prague. Seven and nines. 125, 25, and 27 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, going to be 27 and 30, 30, that 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 35, 37 and 37 and 37 and going to be 37, 50, and 40, and 40, 40, that 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 5, 47 and a half, 47 and 50, and half, 50, that 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57 and 5600, and 55, 56 here, 55, going to be 655, going to be 6, Booker, 155, 11. Nine-year-old or 6 months bred? 9 years old, 6 months bred. 2,000, 20, 100, and 2,100, 21, 21, 21, 2100, 21, and 21, and 21 and a half, 2, half, 3, half, 4, 5, and 2,500, and 2,500, 50, and 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 600, and 26 and a half, half, and 26 and a half, and 26 and a half, Wolf, 2,600. 8 and 9-year-old cows are 3 and 4 months bred. 125. 125, 30, and 25, 30, and 25, 30 here, 30, and 35, 35, 40, 45, 45, 45, 50, 50, 50 here, 45, 47, 50, and 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 52, 52, 5, and 55, 55, 7, 57, 7, 60, $60, going to be 60, going to be 60, going to be 60, going to be 62, going to be 2, going to be 5, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, now 5, and $65, 5 here, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 here, Chris, 162 and a half, 16X. Three and 4, and they're open here. $50. $55 and 55 here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, now 5 and 55 here, 60 and has 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65 here, 5 here, 5 here, Chris 160, 3X. Nine years old or 2 to 4 months bred. 125. 125, 30, and 25, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 here, 30, and 25, 30, 30 here, 25, 30 here, and 30, 30 here, 25, 30, and 25, 30, 32 and a half, 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, 5, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35 here, 5 here, 5 here, Canvas, 132 and a half, 15, 51. Awfully big number. Nine tens are open here, 35, and 35, 37, 37, 37, 37, 37, 40, 40, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, you get 47, 47, 47, 47, 50, and 47, now 50, and 50, half 1, and 50, 51, here, 51, 51, 51, 51, here, another 1, half 51, and 50, 51, here, 1 here, Chris, 150, 13. Five and 6 year olds. Young cows right there, 155 and 55 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and 57, 50 and 57 and 7 and 7 and 7 and 7 and 7 and 57 and 57 60 and now 62 and a half, 2 and a half, 1 3 and hand 3 and half 3, 3, 5 and 5 and has 3, 5 and 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 65 and hand 3, $5, 5 here, Chris, 163, 3X. Under 55 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 51 and 51 and 51, 2 and 3, 53, 54, 4 and 5, 55, 56, 56 under and 55, going to be 6, 7 and 57, 57, 57, going to be 9, going to be 9, 60 and 1 and 2, going to be 2, now 3, 4, 64, 63, 64 and 3, $4, 4, going to be 4 here, Booker, 163. 135, yeah, 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, 40, 42, 5, and 45, 47, 47, 47, 47, now 50, 50, 50, jiggy 53, going to be 150, 50, tap 1, and 51, 51, 51, 2, 53, 53, 53, 4, and 54, 5, and 55, 56, 7, and 57, 57, going to be 9, going to be 8, and 9, and now 9, and 50, going to be 9, 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 here, Chris, 158.20.
Seventeen.
135, 135, and 35, and 35, 35, 30, 37, 40, 40, that 2 and a half, group 2 and a half, 5, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, here, 45, 7 and a half, 47, 50, and 51, and 51, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4 and 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, 54, bit 5, and 55 here, 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, here, Chris, 154, 20x. 154, Chris, 20x. Red crippled. 5 by 5. Make sure you like her bag. Some like them bigger than others. 135. 135, 135, 35, 37 and a half, and 37 and a half, 37 and a half, 40, 40, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 45, 7 and a half, now 15, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57, 50, and 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, here, Booker, 155. Four by four? Two by four plus. $1.50. $1.55, 57 man, 16 at 2 and a half, 2 and 5, 5, now 5, and 5, 7 and a half, 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 going to be 67 and a half, and 67 and a half, going to be 7 and a half, 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 here, Rose, 165 Rose. What's wrong with her face? A little bumpy. 120, 125, 25, 25 here, 5 here, $1, 2 and a half, and 250, 2 and a half here, 102 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, $1, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 10, going to be 110, going to be 110, 15, and 2 to 50, going to be 110, 12 and a half, going to be 10, 12 and a half, going to be 110, 12 and a half, 110, 12 and a half. Sold her 110, Chris, 14. Not head. 2 years, 2 months, $2, 210, 220, 30, 230, 40, 50, 240, gotcha, 240, 50, 240, 50, 60, 260, 70, 270, you give 70, 270, 280, $2.90, $3. You seen the futures? $3. Rose, $2.90. Yeah, no, I know it. Huh? Nine-year-old, she's open. 135, and 35, 40, and 35, 42 and a half, 45, 47 and a half, going to be 50, 50, 50, 57 and a half, 50, 50, 50, 52 and a half, 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 52 and a half, and 52 and a half, 5, and 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57, 50, and 50, 57 and a half, going to be 57 and a half here, Chris, 155, 20. Five-year-old weigher. $1.50. 152 and a half, and 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 52, 50, and 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 60, 60 now, 60 now, 60, Jonathan, you're out, 60, and 7 and a half, going to be 60, 60, 60, 60 now, 60, Chris, 57 and a half, number 10. Cheeseburger's going down. $52 and a half, 50, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 55, 57 and a half, 60, 67 and a half, 60, and 2 and a half, 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 going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, here sold. 160, Chris, 10. Little 2-year-old, give 250. $2, 210, 210, and 200, going to be 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, and 200, going to be 210, 210, 20, 220, 220, Dantone, 230, and 230, 230, 220, 30, and 220, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, going to be 30, 30, 30, going to be 30, 30 here, Antone, 220.
We pastured. There's some cattle turned out like other cities.
Butches. Give $2, Rob. Oh, you can. You just don't want to. $1.75. 180. 185, 85, 90, and 190, 90, 190, going to be 87 and a half, 87 and a half, 87 and a half, 87, 50, 87, 90, and 100, you get 93, going to be 92 and a half, and 92 and a half, 90, 92 and a half, going to be 91, 91, 91, 91, 91, 91, going to be 191 here, sort of 190, Gibbon Bull. $165. Has it got 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 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, and half 72 and a half, and 72, 55, and 75, 77 and a half, 77 and a half, 750, and 77 and a half. You're going to be 77 and a half here. Yes, 175, 16. 175, 75.50, and 77 and a half, 77 and a half, group 82 and a half, group 2 and a half, group 2 and a half, group 82.50, 82 and a half, 82 and a half, 13, 83, 85, 85, 85, 83, 85, 85, half 5, 85, 7, 8, 4, 5, 85, 6, otter, 86 here, 6, 7, 87, 87, group 87, group 87, now hey, 80 otter, hey there, hey, bit of a day, group 88, so 187, Gibbon Bull. 75, 75, 50, and 77 and a half, 77 and a half, 77 and a half, group 82 and a half, 85, 85, 85, 85, 87 and a half, 87, 90, and 90 here, 90 here, group 90, group 90, group 90, group 90, group 90 here, hole 7, 187 and a half.
Yep.
75, 75, 50, and 77 and a half, 77 and a half, group 82 and a half, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 87 and a half, 87 and a half, 87 and a half, group 87, 50, 87 and a half here, 87 and a half, 67, 87, 88, 89, 85, 89, chicken 9, 89 here, 90, and 90 here, 190, group 90, group 90, group 90, group 90, group 90, group 90, here 90, and 90 here, group 90, group 90 here, so 189, Gibbon Bull. Suey. $1.50. $1.55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, and now 65, and 65, 70, 70, 70, 70, 5, going to be 70, 5, going to be 70 here, S, 165, 16. Four and a 5-year-old. 52 and a half, 50, bit of 2 and a half, good 2 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, good 52 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, good 2 and a half, good 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 57, 60, and half 60, 60, and half 60, 160, bit of 60, bit of 60, Booker, 157 and a half.
Other than maybe
52 and a half, 2 and a half, and 2 and a half, jiggy 2 and a half, 92, 55, and 55, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 60, bit 60, bit 60, and 60 there, 2 and a half here, 2 and a half, 1, ziggy 1, ziggy 1, ziggy 1, there, 2, 2 and a half, 2, and 62, 1, 2, 1, going to be 2, Booker, 161.
weirdest calls.
'What's a longhorn word? Is it nothing? Zero. Huh? Sorry, you're breaking up, sir. 155, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57, 50, and 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 60, now 60, now 60, 161, and ziggy 1, has ziggy 1, 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 dollar 1, hey, dollar 1, hey, Booker, 160. 135, 35, 35, 37, 37, 7 and a half, 40, 40, 2 and a half, 42, 50, and 42 and a half, 45, 45, 45, jigga 5, 45, jigga 5, 47, 50, and 47 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 47 and a half here, 47 and a half here, so 145, D1. I get enough. Hey, what a deal. Dixie Smith. 9-year-old cows are 4 and 5 months bred, belong to Dixie Smith out there at Gary. No, there's a few tens. There's several tens. 9 and 10-year-old, 4 and 5 months. They're all gonna go, guys. They're all gonna go. 135. 135, 40, and 35, 40, and 45, 45, 40, 35, 40, 40, 40, 45, 45, 45, 50, 50, 155, and 55, 60, 165, and half 5 here, and half 5, and 65, and 65 here, 70, 170, 67 and a half, and 67 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, top, oh, you're out, and 70, and half 70, 172 and a half, and 72 and a half, going to be 70, 2 and a half, going to be 70, 2 and a half here, Wolf, 170. Here's some more of them cows up here at Gary. 10-year-old cows are 4 and 5 months bred, $1.50. 3 to 5, $1.50, now 5, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 56, 60, and half, 67 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and 60, and half, 60, took him right ahead of you, Chris, 60, and half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, bit of a 2 and a half, bit of a 2 and a half, going to be 250, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, here, going to be 62 and a half, and 62 and a half, here, half here, bit of a half here, going to be 62 and a half, and 62 and a half here, half here, half here, so 160, Chris, 16X. Nine and 10 years old, or 4 and 5 months bred. 135, 40, and 35, 40, and 35, 40 here, 35, 40, and 40 here, 45, and 45, 45, 50, 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, jigga 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and half 60, 60, 60, going to be 60, 60 here, going to be 60 to buy 60, and half 60 here, Chris, 157 and a half on number 5. My bad, Wolf. Open cows here at 50 down 2 and a half, and 50, 2 and a half, going to be 52 and a half, bend 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 52, 50, and 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 1, and 50, 51 here, 51, 51, 51, 51, 51, 51 here, 1, and 50, 51 here, 1 here, 1 here, Chris, 150, 20. Bob, did you watch the game? How was it? Oh. 135, and 35, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, bid 5 here, 37, and 35, 37, 50, and 37 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half. I'm going 37 40, and 40, 40, 40, 42 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 45, 45, 45, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47, 50, and 47, 7 and a half, 50, and half, 50, 50, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and half 60, we get 60, we get 60, bid 60, and half 60 there, 60, here, Booker, 157 and a half. On number 11. 10-year-olds are 3 and 4 months. Don't let me miss one. Still working on them Dixie Smith cows up here at Gary, 10 years old, 3 and 4 months. Yes, sir. Here, 135 and 35 and 35 and 35, 35, 35. How do we?
690 is down.
Okay. Thank you. 135 and 35 40 and 35 40 40 40 we get 40 we get 40 and 35 45 here 45 50 and 55 55 55 50 60 and now 60 there going to be 60 here $1.60 $1.55 60 there going to be 60 here 65 and 70 $1.75 and 70 80 80 here 80 here 80 here 80 here so 175 Chris 5. Big-footed bull, dollar bill. 105 and 105 here, 105, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5, we get 10, we get 15, we get 20, we get 5, we get 30, we get 30, and 25 here, 25, you get 25 and 25 and 25, 30, we get 30, we get 30, we get 30, 25, 30 here, 35, 25, we get 30, you get 35 and 35, 35, 40 and half 40, 40, 40, we get 40, we get 40, and 35, 40, 40, 40, we get 40, we get 40, we get 40 here, cabinets 135 bullocks. Young bull, $2. 210 and 210, bit of a 210, 210, 210 and 210, bit of a 210 and 210, 210, 210, 210, $1.70, $1.80, 175 and 75 and 75 and half 75, 80, 85 here, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 90, 90 here, 190, 85, 90, 85, 90 here, Terry, 185, 9X. $1.50. 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 55, 70, 70, 70, going to be 70, $1.65, 70, now 5, and 75, 75, 75 here, 2.5, 75 here, 75 here, 75, 750, and 77 and 77, going to be 77 and now 80, $1.80 there, 80, you give 80 there, going to be 80, but 80, 81, 81 here, 81, 81, 81, 81, 81 here, so 180, whole 6. A little bit odd, 120. 125, 25, 25 here, 25, 25, 25 here, 5 and 30, and 25, 30, and 25, 30, we get 30, and 25, we get 30, and 5, and 35, 40, we get 40, we get 45 here, 45 here, 45, 45 here, 5, we get 5, we get 5, you get 5 here, 50, $1.50 here, 45, we get 50, cabinets, 145, nothing. 75. Yeah, 75 here, 75 there, 75, 77 and a half, 77 and a half, 77, 50, and 77 and a half, 77 and a half here, 77 and a half, now 80, and now 1 here, 81, 81, 82, 82, tire out, 82, 3, 84, 85, 85, 6, 86 here, 85, going to be 600 here, 85, going to be 6, giving bull 185. Glad you sold them last week. 175. Yeah, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 77, 75 here, 75, 65. 65, 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, even get 70, even get 70, even get 70. $70 here, going to be 70, even get 70, even get 70 here. S, 67 and a half, 16. Fading bull, $2. 210.20, 210.20, bit of 210.20 there, you're going to be 210.20, 210.20, 220, 220, 210.20, going to be 210.20, 220, 30, 30, 40, you're going to get 240, you're going to get 230, 40, 40, 40 there, you're going to get 40, you're going to get 40, you're going to get 40, you're going to get 40 here, Terry, 230, 9X, just 9. $52 and a half, 50, even get 2 and a half, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 60, even get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a 5, as it goes, 5, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 67 and a half, and 67 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half here, Booker, 165. Older cows here, 125 and 25 and 25 and 7 and 30, we get 32 and a half, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, you get 5, 35, now 5 and 35, 37 and 37 and 40, we get 40, going to be 42 and a half, you get 2 and a half, 5 and 45, 47 and a half, 47 and 50 and half, 50 and half, 50, we get 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 50 and half, 50 here, going to be 5 ho here, Booker, 147 and a half, 12.
months.
10 years old, they're all 3 to 4 months. Older mamas, 3 to 4 months. 125 and 25 and 25 and 25, 27 and 7 and 7 and 27 and 27, 50 and 20, 57 and going to be 30 and 2 and a half, 35, 35, 35 here, 35 here, 35 and 37 and 37 and 37 and 37 and 40 and half, 42 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 5 and 45, 47 and a half, 47 and 50 and half, 50 and half, 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, you get 5 and 55, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 60 and 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 5 and 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 70 and now 70, you're going to get 70, you're going to be 70, now 70, $1.70 there, you're going to be 70, you're going to get 70, you're going to be 70 there, 170, $1.70 there, 170, Chris, 167 and a half, 17. 167 and a half, Chris 16, yard him out. Yard him out. Yeah. Oops. I don't know. Fat or tall or something. Fat. Big tall one that sticks out. $1.50. 5-year-olds. Yes. 17. Last one's on 17. $1.50. 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 160, 55, 63, 60, 60, $1.55, 65, and 65, 70, 70, 70, 70, 170, and 73, 70, 70, S, 165, 21. Who they got? Go Blue Jays. They might. 150, 2.5, 50, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, group 2.5, group 2.5, group 2.5, group 2.5, group 2.5, group 50, 2.5, group 2.5, group 2.5 here, sold 150, Cavaniss. 3. Daughter, 105, and 105 here, go to 105, 85, 85, 85, outside 5, and 105 here, and 5, 85, 85, 10, go to 110, 15, 20, and 25, and 25, 85, and 25, 85, 85, 30, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 5, and 35 here, 5 here, 35 here, S, 130, 4. $1.52.5, 50, 52.5, gonna be 52.5, gonna be 2.5, 52.5, gonna be 52.5, gonna be 2.5, 2.5, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7.5, and 57 about 60, and now 60, bit of 60, bit of 60, bit of 60, and 67.5, gonna be 60 here, Chris, 57.5, 20. $125, and 25, and 25, 25, 25, 25, and 30, and 25, 30 here, 5, and 30 here, 5, and 35 here, 40, and 45 here, 45, 45, 2.5, and 42 and 5, 45, 45, 47, 47, 50, and 50, and 50, 53, 50, 52 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half here, Booker, 150 on number nothing. $10 years and 4 months. $1.50. $55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, 55, 60, 55, 60, 155, 60, and 55, 60 there, 55, going to be 60 there, 55, going to be 65, and now 70, 170, 175, and now 80, 85 here, 85, 95, and 95, going to get $2 a pound, going to be 205, going to be 210, and 210 a pound, going to be 210, bit of a 10, 15, 210, 15, and 210, bit of a 15, going to get 15 here, Wolf. 210. Wolf. Four-year-old, she's up on here, $1.50, now 5, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, and 55 here, 5 here, cabinets, 153. Eight-year-old, 52 and a half, 50, going to be 50, that 2 and a half, going to be 50, that 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 52 and a half, 52 and a half, bid 2 and a half, 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 51, 50, 51 here, 1 here, 2, 3, you get 2, 51, 2, 51, 2, 51, 2, 52, 52, 1, 2, Booker, 151. One by four? 4 by 4. She's pretty good, isn't she? 2,000, 20, 100, and 21, and 2,100, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2100, 100, not 2, 2,200, 4 years old, 4 months bred, 2,100, 21, hold your gate, hold your gate, hold your 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2,200, and 2, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 24, you get 4, and 5, 600, and 25, going to be 607, and 607, and 7, 7, 7, 700, 2,700, 800, and 2,800, and now 9, and 9, get 9, and 3,000, get 3, and 29, get 3, and 1, and 31, and 3,100, 100, 100, 1, Nitzel, 3,000. Goodbye, Greg. Wait her up here, 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, 40, 40, then 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, get 5, and 45, 47, 47, 50, 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, 52, 50, and 52 and a half, going to be 2 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 and a half, going to be 52 and a half here, Booker, 150. Two-year-old. $2. 210 and 210, 210 and 200, going to be 210, going to be 10, going to be 10, going to be 10, going to be 10, 220 and 220, 30, going to get 2, 30, 40, going to get 2, 40, out of here, 50 and 250, 240, 50, and 40, 50, 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, down 50 here, sold 240 and tone. No. $1.52 and a half, and 52.50, and 50, we get 2.5, 55 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 60, we get 60, bit of 60, going to be 60, going to be 62 and a half, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, here S, 160, 21. $10 years and 7 months. $1.50, now 5, and 55, and 55, you get 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, $1.55, and 55 here, 55, 55, 60, and 55, 60 there, 5, going to be 65, and to get about 70, 70, to get 70, 5, 75, and 75, 75 here, 75 here, 75 here, 75 here, Chris, 170, 16. Six-year-old cow, 52 and a half, and 52 and a half here, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 55 here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, and 55 here, 5 here, Booker, 52 and a half. $210, $210.20, and $210.20, bit of a $210.20 there, going to be $210.20, and $210.20 there, going to be $220, bit of $20 there, going to be $20.30, bit of get 30, bit of get 40, bit of get 40, bit of get 50, bit of get 50, 50, 60, and $270, bit of get 270, 80, going to be $280, and 70, 80 there, 80, $270 now, 80 here, S, $270, 11X. Eight years old. She's 3 months. Here's a pretty good rig, guys. 2,000. 2,100 and 2,100 here, 2,100 here, 100 here, 1 here, 1 and 2,100 and 2,100 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, Chris, 2,056. $2 old here, $1.50. $1.55 and 55, you get 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 5, 70, 5, 80, 5, 90, 190, 85, 90 here, 85, 90 here, 85, 90 here, Chris, 185, 8X. You say 800 left? Oh. $6 old cow here, $1.52 and a half, 52 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 52, 55, and 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 50, 60, and now 60 there, $1.60, 2 and a half, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half here, Chris, 160, 20. You leaving? $3X. Why her 120, 125, 25, 25 here, 5 here, 10, 12, 50, and 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, and 12, going to be 10 and 12, going to be 10 and 12, going to be 10, 12, Booker, 110. $5 years and 4 months, 2,000. 2100, 2100, here, 2100, here, 100, here, 1 here, 1, 2, and 22, and 22, we get 2, 3, and 23, we get 3, and 4, here, 5, and 25, 26, and 2600, here, 5, going to be 2600, here, 5, going to be 6, Rose, 2500. If she's not too wild, Mr. Rose, I think that's a pretty good buy. If. $1.50. $1.50, 60, $1.50, 60 there, $1.50, 50, 50, 60 here, 150, 60, and 50, 60 there, $1.50, 60, 60, 60 here, S, 150, 11X. Right here, 125, and 25, 30, and 25, 30 here, 25, to get 30, going to be 30, going to be 30, and 25, 30, and 25, going to be 30, 30, 30, going to be 30, to get 35, 35, 35, 35, 2.5, and 32 and a half, 5, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 2.5, 5, 37 and a half, 37 and a half, here's all 135, Chris, 13. $110, $110, $12.50, and 10, 12 and a hand, 12 and a hand, 12 and a hand, $110, 12 and a hand, going to be $110, 12 and a hand, going to be 12 and a hand, going to be $12.50, 15, and 17 and a hand, 17 and a hand, 17 and a half, 20, and 20, 23, going to be 22 and a half, going to be 22 and a half, going to be 22 and a half, you're both out, 22.50, and 22 and a half, you're out, Jonathan, and 22 and a half, going to be 22 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 22 and a half, here, Canvas, 120 on number 6. No, I quit drinking coffee. You want one, Lid? 152 and a half, 52 and a half, 52 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and now 60 there, 7 and a half, going to be 60, and 7 and a half, going to be 60 there, going to be 60, going to get 62 and a half, going to 1, and they get 1, 2, going to be 2, going to get 2, going to be 3, going to get 3, going to get 3, 4, and 63, 4, and have 3, going to get 4 on Booker, 163, Booker number 21. $4 and a $5, $1.50. 55, and 55, 55, 75, 57, 57, 7, 60, and now 60, 60 there, $7.60, and now 62 and a half, 5, 65, now 5, and 65 here, 5 here, 5 here, Chris, 162 and a half, 20. They don't miss too many. This is the first deal, Chris's. The last deal was. 5-year-old and a 6-year-old right there, 35 and 35, 40 and 35, 45, 45, 5 and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 50, another 45, 50 and 45, 50, there, going to be 45, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, there, 45, 50, here, book, 145, 21. 125, and 25, and 27 and 25, 27 and 7 and 7, going to be 27, going to be 27, going to be 27, going to be 25, 750, and 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7, going to be 27 and a half, going to be 27 and a half here, Booker, 125, 12. $135, all go, 35, and 35, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, and 35, 37, and 35 here, 35, 35, 35, you get 5, and 35, you get 5, 35, you get 5, 35, 750, and half 40, and 40, 40, 40, you get 40, going to be 40, you get 40, going to be 40, you get 40, going to be 40, and 40 here, 40 there, 40, and 40, 40, 40, you get 40 here, you get 40 there, and half 40 here, D, 137 and a half, 1. Nobody wants to win or anything. 152 and a half, and 2 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, good bit 2 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, 50 now 2 and a half, and 52 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, good bit 2 and a half, bit of 2 and a half, 51, and 51, 51, 2, 2, 53, and 53, 2, 53 and a half, 53, and 53, 53 and a half, 52, good bit 3 and a half, 3, 4, and 54, 53, bit of 4, 53, bit of 4, dollar, bit of 4, bit of 4, good bit 4 here, Chris, 153.20. Bull time, Rob. Hey, get Jason on the phone. I know. Ask him if he's interested in these Fat Express bulls. I don't know. I don't think they're fat enough though for him.
Your brother wants to help you earn some of these Fat Express bulls.
I don't think they're fat enough to butcher. $1.50. 155 and 55, 60, $1.65, 65, 70, 170, 170, 170, 175, 75, 75, 75, 175 and 75 and 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 76, 75, 76, 75, 76 and 75, 76, 75, 76 on 175, Gibbon Bull. $1.50. $1.55 and 55, jigga 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, 55 here, 55 here, 35, 40, and 35, 40 here, 5, 40, 5, 50, 50, jigga 50, now 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, yeah, down here, 55, and 55, 65, and zigga 5, and zigga 5, zigga 5, zigga 5, zigga 5, zigga 5, zigga 5, zigga 5 here, 5 here, Terry, 169. He just told me next time you see some bulls like that, they need to be bought. Put them on feed for 60 days or whatever. Butcher them. $2. 210 and 210 here, 200 pay on the 5 here, 5, 205 and 205 10, go to 10, go to 10, go to 10, 210 and 210, go to 210, 210, 15 and 210, 15, 20 and 220, go to 225, go to 225, go to 225 and 225 here, Terry, 229. $1.55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, and 55 here, 60, 5, 70, 70, 75, and 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 6, 75, 75, now 77 and a half, 77 and a half, 77 and a half, 77 and a half, holes, 175, hole 6. Yeah. Probably some bulls that they had that sale last week that they caught back. Buy them as is. Probably couldn't sell them. All gonna go, guys. 110, 110, 10, 12 and a half, 10, 12 and a half, gonna be 12 and a half, 15, 17 and a half, 23, gonna be 20, gonna be 2 and a half, 25, 7 and a half, 30 and a 30, and 30, 33, gonna be 30, gonna be 30, gonna be 32 and a half, gonna be 2 and a half, what about 1, 2, and 31, 2, 32, 1, 2, 31, 2, and 32, 1, 2, gonna be 2, gonna be 2, bit of a 2, sold. 131, Booker 12. $125 and 25, 30 and 25, 30, 5, 30, 25, 30, 5, 30, outside 30 and 30 and a half, 5 and 35, 35, 30, 40, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45 and 45 here, 45, 5 here, Cavernous 140 Bull-X. $1.50. $1.55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 125, 30 and 25, 30 and 25, 30, 35, 35, 30, 40, 45, 45, 50 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 5, 51, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ricardo, 154. $1.55 and 55 and 55 and 55, 57 and 57 going to be 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, 172 and a half, 72 and a half, 72, 50 and 5 and 75, 75, 77 and a half, 750 and 77 going to be 83, 80, 82 and a half, 82 and a half here, 5, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85 here, 85 here, whole 82 and a half, 7. Pretty good bull right there. Seen that brand 23. 135, 35, you give out 35, 35, 37, going to be 42 and a half, 45, 47, going to be 50, going to get 2 and a half, 5, and 57 and a half, 57, 60, and 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 5, and 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, and now 70, going to be 70, going to get 70, Lou, and 73, going to be 70, going to get 70, going to get 70, going to be 70, going to get 70, going to be 70 here, Booker, 167 and a half. Wouldn't take long.
They take the limits off, so can it fall?
I don't know.
Never stop.
$1.50. 155 and 55, 57, 57, going to be 60, going to get 2 and a half, 5, and 65, 7 and a half, 7 and 70, 170, 170, 70, and now 70, going to get 72 and a half, going to be 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, you get 5, 75, you get 5 here, giving bulls, 72 and a half. How far can the market drop tomorrow? At least 13. Well, what about tomorrow? That's what I was just wondering. What if there's no limit? It just free fall. How many people jumping? $2. 210.20 and 210.20, but 220 and 210.20, we get 210.20, we're gonna be 220, 30, we get 30, 40, 230, 40, 50, and 250, we get 250, we get 240, 50, and 250, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50 here. S 240, 11. Rob, maybe it'll go back up 13 tomorrow. You think so? Yeah. $175. Here's 75. Here's 75, 75, 77, 75, 750, and 77. Going to be 80. Rob Haiti. And now Haiti there. 80. Going to be Haiti. You give 80 there. Going to be Haiti sold. 77 and a half. Hole 7. Check out the horse sale this weekend at City. Out there at all? No. A big sale over there. I was watching part of it. $165. Has it get about? 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 7 and a half. 7 and a half. 7 and a half. 7 and a half. 750 and 67 and a half. 67 and a half. Going to be 750 and 67 and a half here. Cabinets bull. 165. That horse sale? Snapple bit? Snaffle. Yeah. Holy Moses. How much? 200? Holy cow. You need to start selling horses. $1. 105 and 105. It'll get 5. It'll get 5. It'll get 5. It'll get 5. 10. It'll be 110. It'll be 120. It'll be 30. It'll get 30. It'll get 40. It'll get 40 and 30, 40 and 30, 40. It'll be 40. It'll get 40. It'll get 40 down. 30, 40 here. 40 there. Here. Cabinets X 130. Bull X. Tight. A little commission on that deal. Sell one. I just sell one horse, but I'm done. Good enough. At 1% be 500,000. 155, 55, 55, 55, 55, 35, and 35, 40, 35, 40, 35, 40, 35 here, 35, 35, 5, and 35, 5, 25, and 25, 30, 32 and a half, 35, 37, going to be 40, 40, going to be 40, and 40, and 40, 40, 40, Robbie out 40, there, going to be 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40 here, Canvas, 37 and a half, Bull X. 75, and 75, 750, and 77, going to be 82 and a half, 85, 85, 85, 85, 87 and a half, 87, 100, going to be 190, going to get 90, going to 190, and 90, 90 there, going to be 90, going to get 90, going to be 90, going to get 90, going to be 90, going to be 90 there, going to be 90 here, Canvas, 87 and a half, Bull. 65, has a good 5, has a good 5, has a good 5, has a good 5, 7, 70, now 72 and a half, 72, 55, and 75, 75, 75, 75 here, 77 and a half, 77, 50, and 70, going to get 77 and a half, going to be 77 and a half, going to be 77 and a half here, so 175, Cav Bull. 25, 25, and 25, 25, 25, 27, and 27, and 27, and 27, and going to be 27, 50, and 7 and a half, going to be 27 and a half here, and hand 30, going to get 30, going to be 32 and a half, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, and 37, and 37, 40, and 42 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 45, 45, 47 and a half, 47, and 47, 50, and 47 and a half here, going to be 47 and a half here, little cabinets, 145, Bull X. 52 and a half, 50, 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 60, and 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 6 and a half, 7 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 and a half, 70, and now 70, going to get 70, going to get 70, going to get 70 here, whole, 167 and a half, 6, 7. 135, 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, going to be 40, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 45, and 45, 47, 47, 47, 50, and half, 50, half, 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, going to get 50, half, 50, get 50 there, going to be 50, going to get 50, going to get 50 here, Booker, 147 and a half, 12, 22, 21. 8 to 10, 5 months. Pretty nice set of cows, guys. 8, 10-year-old, 5 months bred. 2,000, 2,100, and 21, and 2,100, and 21, now 2, and 22, and 22, and 2150, 1 half and a half. Here, going to be 2150, and 21 and a half, 21 and a half, 21 and a half. Going to be 2150. Here, 21 and a half. Here, half. Here, 2,000. Here, 1, and 2,100. Here, 1,800, 18 and a half. Wham! Hold your gate. You get away. 135, 40, 135, 45, 50, 150, now 5, 155, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, now 60, now 5, 165, 165, and 5 here, Booker, 160 on 21. 8 to 10 years old. They're 5 and 6 months. 5 and 6 months, guys, right there, here, 125, 125, 30, and 25, 30, and 35, 40, 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 42, 50, and 42 and a half, you get 2 and a 5, and 45, 45, 47, 47, 50, $1.50 there, going to be 50, you get 50, you get 50, now 50, $1.50, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, and 2 and a half, you get 5, 55, 60, and 5, and now 70, 170, 65, 70, and 65, 70 there, 5, going to be 70 here, Wolf, 165. Eight to 10, 4 months here, 35. 135, 40, and 35, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 45, 45, 59, 59, 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, and 55, and 55 here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, and 55 here, 5 here, 5 here, Booker, 150, 12. Yellow. 9 and 10, 0 1 guys here, 35, and 35, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, you got 37, about 40, and 42 and a half, going to be 40, you get 2 and a half, going to be 40, you get 2 and a half, going to be 40, 250, and 45, and 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47, 50, and 40, you get 7 and a half here, going to be 47 and a half here, Booker, 145, 12. Good job. He is a good and big one. $2, Rob. 185, 85, 3, going to be 85, 85, 87, 90, and 192 and a half, 92 and a half, 91, 91, 3, we get 35, 95, 95, 93, 95, and 95, 93, we get 5, 3, we get 5, 3, we get 5, 93, we get 5, Lou, you're out, 95, and 95, and 3, 95, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5 here, sort of 193, Gibbon Bull. We're getting closer. Savage. 75, 75, 750, and now 82 and a half, 85, 85, 87, 90, 190, you get 90, and now 90, you get 90, group 90, you get 2 and a half, 92 and a half, whatever, 1, 91, and 90 here, 91, 91, you get 91, 1, here, hole 7, 190. Eubank. 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 Daughter, 105, and 105 here, good to 105, good to 5 and 10, good to be 10, good to get 15, good to be 20, good to get 20 and 5, and 25, 30, good to get 30 and 35, 35, 35, 40, good to get 40 and 40, and 35, 43, good to get 40, good to get 40 and 40, 7 and a half, 40, now 40, 140, and 40, 43, good to get 40, good to get 40, good to get 40, and 40 there, good to be 140 here, Cabinet Bull, 137 and a half X. $125, 25 here, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 30, and 25, 30 here, 5, to get 30, 25, to get 30, not 5, and 35, 40, to get 40, to get 40, 35, 40, and 35, 40, to get 40, to get 40, to get 40 here, Booker 12, 135. Time to get the beat, 1202. 110, 110, 12, 50, 10, 12, 10, 12, good to be 110, 12, good to be 110, 12, dollar be 105, at 105, to get 5, 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 to get 5 here, S, $1 1. Hundred 35, and 35, and 35, 35, 37, 37, 40, to get 40, that 2 and a half, good to be 2 and a half, you get 5, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 7 and a half, 47, 50, and half, 50, to get 50, to get 50, to get 50, and half, 50 here, Booker 12, 147 and a half, 21. What we got left? A couple hundred. 135, and 35, 40, and 35, 45, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 50, another 47 and a half, 7 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a 50, and 50, 50, 50, going to be 50, Jonathan, you're at 50, and 50, 50, 30, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 here, Chris, 147 and a half, 20. After she told me there was over 400 in last night, I said, well, I'm going to be there till 1, 2 o'clock, no matter what. But I hate it when I call in and they said we got 80 on Sunday. Didn't I get here 500? 125, yeah, 25, 30, yeah, 25, 30, now 30, 5, to get 30, 5, to get 30, 5, to get 35, and 35, 40, 5, 50, 55, and 55 here, 5 here, you got her, 150 on number 4X, Chris. How old is she? 3-year-old daughter, 50. 55, and 55, and 55 here, 60, 160, and 65, and 70, 175, 80, 5, 90, 190, and 5, and 95, 2, 195, going to be 205, and 205 here, 5, to get 5, to get 5 here, 5, to get 5 here, now 5, and 205 here, Chris, $2, 4X. Five and open, 55, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 75, 57, 60, and down 2 and a half, to get 2 and a 5, 5, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, and down 70, to get 2 and a half, 72, 50, and 70, to get 2 and a half, going to be 70, to get 2 and a half, Chris, 170 on 10. 52 and a half, 50, you get 2 and a half, good bit 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, good bit 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and now 60 there, 7 and a half, good bit 60, you get 60, you get 60, here to the Booker, 57 and a half, 21. Brad, you get a lot of rain? No. That's it? Five years old, 2 months bred. Who give 1,000? 1,000 and 1,000, 1,000, 1,100 and 10, 11, 11, 1,200, 13, 13, 14, 14, 13, 1,400 and 14, 14, 14, 14, 15 and 1,500 and 1,500, 14, 15, 14, 1,500, 1,500. Where's Matt? 1,500. Cavaniss, 1,400 on 51. Them's kind of cows I need to partner with you with, Ty. Pretty good little cow. $155, 55, 55, 55, 57, 55, 57, 57, 57, 57, 57, 50, 57, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 51, 50, 51, 51, 51, 51, okay, Chris, 150, 40. I knew that. $10 years and 5 months, 130. 135 and 35, 40 and 45 and 45, 50, 50, 45, 50, go to 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, now 50 there, Booker, 145. 21. Are y'all gonna, when y'all get moved, are you gonna wait till the end of the semester to move him into that? Yeah. You're driving back. It'll be like in this January. After Thanksgiving. Okay. We do? 125, 25, 25, 25, 25, 27, 50, 7 and a half, half here, 125, 750, 7 and a half here, 7 and a half here, now 30, and 30, then 2 and a half, 5, and 35, 37, 37, 37, both out, 37 and a half, 40, 2 and a half, 42 and a half, 45, 145, 145, 7 and a half, and 47, 7, 47 and a half here, Booker 12, 145, 21. 6-year-old cow here, 135, 40, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 40, 40, 35, 45, and 45, 50, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 5, and 55 here, 5 here, 5 here, so 150, Chris, 4X. Two-year-old heifer checked one way. $75, $75 here, 75, 75, 70, 80, $75, going to be here, 75, going to be 180, 85, 85, 85, and 90, going to be 195, and 95, going to get 2, 205, and 210, going to be 210, 15, and 210, going to get 15, going to be 15, 20, and 225, and 225, 30, going to get 30, going to get 35, 235, 40, and 43, going to get 40, 40, going to get 40, 40, going to get 40 here, so about 235, S, 11X. 9 years and 5 months, $1.50. $55, and 55, 60, and 55, 65, and 65, 70, 170, 70, now 77 and a half, 70, and now 70, and 72 and a half, and 70, 2 and a half, going to be 70, 2 and a half here, Booker, 170, 21.
A little bit, not much. You should.
I'm asking
I don't know.
if they just.
If you locked in your feeders at say 3.
No, I mean, trying to lock something in right now.
Oh, I doubt it. I bet not. Not when it's down.
10 by 3. 8 years, 5 months. 135. 135, 40, and 45 high, now 50, 155, 55, 55, 60, and now 60, and 55, 65, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, sold 160, cabinets 51.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Not when it's down like that.
Does Tyler Richie do
Something like that.
I seen that post he made where he bought something else, but
Yeah.
locked in and turned tabs in.
9-year-old, she's pretty cute cow. Dollar. 105, and 105, 105, 105, 105, 105, 105, 105, 105, 10, going to be 10, 20, 10, 20, 110, 20, and 10, 20, going to be 10, 20, going to be 20, 30, 30, 30, 40, 40, and 35, and 35, 35, 35, 40, 40, 40, now 40, 140, now 50, 140, now 50, 60. Think she's a 9, 150, 60, 150, 60. Sold 150 and tone. Yeah. 5 years and 3 months. He'll give 1,000. 1,100 and 10, 11, you 10, 11, 11, 11, 10, he 11, 11, 11, 1100 and 12 and 12 and 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, and 15, 16 and 16 and 17 and 17 and 1700 and 17, 17. What about you, Ty? 17 and 17, 17, going to be 17, 17, going to be 18, 1800, 1800, 18, 18, sold her 1700. Chris 4. $35, yeah, 35, 35, 35, 37 and a half, 35, 37 and a half, 37 and a half, going to be 42 and a half, 42, 50, and 40, 2 and a half, going to be 45, and 45, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 50, another 50, 50, 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half here, book, 150 on 12. Six years and 4 months, $1.35. 35, 40, and 35, 40 here, 35, 40 here, 40, 40, 35, 40, and 5, and 45, 45, 50, 50, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 5, and 55 here, 55 here, 5 here, Chris, 150. 4. $52 and a half, 50, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 52 and a half, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and now 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 5, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, 70, going to be 71, and 71 here, 71, 71, 71, 71, 71, 71 here, Booker, 170, 21. $1. $1. $1 here, $1 here, $1 here, 50 cents a pound, and 60, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, and 95, and 95 here, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, and 95, 95, $95. $1 bid. $1 pound here, $1 here, shoulder 95, Cavex. Nine before, she got a hip down. $1 bid, 105, and 105 here. Go to 105, it'll get 5, 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 105, and 100 out of 5 here, 105, it'll get 5, it'll get 5, it'll get 5 here, 60 cents a pound, 70 cents a pound, 70 cents a pound, 80. Did you give 80? 90, $1. S180. $125, yeah, 25, and 25, 30, and 32 and a half, 35, 37 and a half, 37 and a half, going to be 40, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 50, and 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 250, and 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 52 and a half here, go to Booker, 150, 21. Three years and 5 months, $1,000. 1,000, 1,000 here, 1,000 here, 1,250, and 12 and a half, 1,500, and 12 and a half, 15, and 12 and a half, going to be 15, going to get 50, going to get 50, going to get 1,500, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, now 2,000, 22 and a half, 21, and 21, and 21, 2, 21, 2, 21, 2, 21, 2, 21, 2, you got Chris, and 22, 3, and 22, 3, 4, and 2,400 here, 3, 4, and 2,400 here, 4 here, 4 here, Rose, 2,300. Rose. 6, 7. 2,000 and 2,100 and 2,100 here, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2,100 here, going to be 2,100 and 21, 2 and 22, 3 and 22, 3, 400 here, 5 and 25, 6 and 2,600 here, 2,600 here, 5 going to be 2,600 and 2,600 here, 25 going to be 6 here, shoulder 2,500, Chris 3. She's 6, 7, Chris. You don't have young kids anymore, do you? Oh. $1.52 and a half, 52 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and now 60 here, going to be 60, going to get 67 and a half, going to be 160, and now 60 here, Booker, 157 and a half on number 21. Paul, you know you got the cow sale next week, right? You don't want to talk about it? 150. 155, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 55, 57, 7 and a half, 57, 57, 60, and 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 6 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, going to be 67, 50, yes, 67 and a half, here, Chris, 165, 20. I'll have to call him Sunday and remind him. I know. 7 or no pun here. 55 and 55 and 55. 55, 55, 55, 55, 35, 40 and 35, 40, 35, 40, 35, 40 and 35. You get 40 here. 35, 40, 40, 40, 35, 40 and 40. You get 40, you get 40, 35. Good to get 40, you get 40, you get 40, 40 here. So 135. Chris 15. Dollar bid, 105, and 105, it'll get 5, it'll get 5, it'll get 5, it'll get 5, and 10, it'll be 105, 110, 15, 20, and 21, 21, 25, and 25, 20, 25 here, 25 here, 25, and 25 here, you got tied, 25 here, 5 here, 25, it'll get 5 here, yes, 123.
Weirdo wasn't here today.
7 years and 5 months, she's crippled. Dollar. 105 and 105 here, 5, it'll get 5, it'll get 5, it'll get 5, it'll get 5 here, 10 and 10 and 15, 20 and 21, 25, 30, it'll get 30 and 30 here, 35 and 35, 35, 40, 40 here, 35, 45, yeah, 45 here, 45 here, 50 and 50 here, 45, it'll get 50, give it 145. Yeah, I guess. She's two. She's open. Give $2. 210.20. 210.20 and 210.20. We're gonna get 210.20. We're gonna be 220, 220, 220, 210.20 and 210.20. We're gonna be 210.20. We're gonna get 210.20. Ricara, Antone, 210.
Antonio, how old are you? 50? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm old, 59.
You're almost 60? He doesn't have one gray hair. How do you not have any gray?
Huh?
You don't get gray?
Oh, I mean, things are going to be full. I'm sure.
7 years. She's 5 months. 1,500. 15, 16, 15, 1600 here, 50 here, going to be 16, 1600 here, 50, 1600, 15, 1600 here, 50, going to be 16 here, Chris, 1500 on 4.
By May 20, I'm going to be 60.
You'll be 60 in May.
May 20.
I wouldn't either. No Mexicans age well.
My grandpa, that's 105 and still riding horses and anything like that.
Seriously?
3-year-old, $2. 210 and 210, 210, 210 and 210, going to be 210, going to be 210, but 10, going to be 10, but 10, 20, 220, 230, 40, 230, 40, 230, 40, and 230, 40, going to get 40, going to get 40, 40, 40 here, S, 230, 11X.
Okay. Que vienen unas de cuernos malas que le... mucho ojo.
Hot sauce. Watch it. Six years and she's 7 months. 6, 7. $1,000. 1,100 and 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 100, 11, 10, 11, 11, 10, 111 and 12 and 12 and 14. Going to get 14. Going to be 16. Going to be 18. Going to be 2,000 and 2,000. What about 19, 2 and 2,000 and 2,000 here? Going to be 2. Going to be 2. Going to be 2. 2,000 and 19, 2 and 2,000. Going to be 19, 2, 19, 2 and 2,000 here. 19, 2,000 here. Going to be 19, 2, 2,000. Yeah, sir. 2. Ricardo, 1,900. You wouldn't bid? Huh? You was 18. 19. 1,800. Ricardo. Got to watch them auctioneers. They skip numbers. 5 by 4. 2,000. 2,000 and 2,000 here, 1 and 2,100 and 2,100 here, not 2, group 2, big 3 and 23, 3 and 4 here, 5 and 2,600 and 27 and 7 and 7 and 7 and 6 7 and 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 7 here, now 7 and 2,700 going to be 2,700 here, 27 here, going to be 7 here, going to be 7. Chris, 2,600 on 3. Nice count. Yeah, 1.
I was just been to be nice. What happened to 85 tonight?
I was just betting to be nice just to help out.
110. $110, I'll go. 110, 10, 12 and a half, dollar bid, 102 and a half, and $102 and a half, going to be 102 and a half, and 2 and a half here, 102 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 250, you 2 and a half here, have not 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, $1 1. I remember yours when they come in Wednesday. Yeah. I'll give that 19 now. 1 year olds, guys, right there, here, $2 a pound, 210, and 210, and 210, 210, and 205, and 205 here, 5, 10, 15, and 20, and 225, 25, 25, 25, 225, 30, and 35, and 35 here, 5 here, 235, and 35 here, 5 here, yes, 230, 11X.
Los jefes right there already, $1,000 cheap. 1,000 cheap.
David Hoffman. Here's a Hoffman cows. $135, and 35, you get 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, and half 5, and 35, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, going to be 37.50, and 37, 40, and half 40, 41, 2, 3, 3, 44, and 44 here, 5, and 45, you get 5 here, 44, and 5 here, 44, and 5, yeah, 45 here, 5, you get 5 here, Booker, 144 on number 12.
Hey, stinky cow. Smell bad. You smell it?
I can't smell.
Do you smell them?
I 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 57, 57, 57, 55, and 57, 50, and 59, 60, and now 60, we get 60, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 250, you 2 and a half here, half here, Booker, 160 on 21. As they're all go, watch them. Oh, you got 4.
80, 58, 53, 62.
135, yeah, 35, and 35, 35, 35, 35, not 5, and 35 here, 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, 37, go to 40, and 40, 40, 40, that 2 and a half, go to be 2 and a half, get 5, yeah, 45, yeah, 45 here, 5, get 5, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, you get 5 here, 45, get 5, Booker, 142 and a half, 21.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. Okay. Bye. You get them all? Yeah. Okay. Now you're going to be one short. Probably should have.
135 and 35 and 35, 37 and 37 and 37 and 37 and going to be 37, 50 and 30, 40 and 42 and a half, jiggy 2 and a half, 45, 45, 45, 47 and a half, 47 and 50, $1.53, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 52 and a half here, Booker, 150.21. $1.50. $1.55 and 55, jiggy 5, 55, 55, 55, 35, 40 and 35, 45 and 45, 45, 45. Yeah, down here, 45, 55 and 55, jiggy 5, 55, 60 and $1.65 and jiggy 5, 70, 75 and 75, 80, 85, 90, 190 and 93, 95 and 95 here, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95 here. So 190, yes, 11X. Yeah, they run over you.
There you go.
That's what they're all bred to. 150. 155 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 and 55 here, 5 here, so 150S, 11. They'll be black. You need to get yard outs.
No. It's red up there.
What are you talking about? It's all down the limit.
How many?
1375.
Oh, yeah.
$110, 110, 15, and 15, 20, and 25, and 25, 30, video 30, and 30, and 25, group 30, video 30, 25, group 30, 25, group 30, video 30, group 30, video 30, group 30 here, Cavness, 125X. She's stuck out, bigger than a $1.50. $1.55 and 55, 60, $1.60, 2 and a half, get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, get 5, 7 and a half, 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 750, and 7 and a half, 70, and now 70, going to get 70, going to be 70, now 1, 2. Booker, 171. I think you have 2. Better write that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last one at 22. Okay.
As soon as I say that, they probably back.
Uh-oh. Better hold one. Or we can maybe adjust her, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
120, 122 and a half, and 22.50, and 22 and a half, gonna be 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 22.50, and 22 and a half, and 22 and a half. Everybody else, 22 and a half, 22 and a half, 5, 125, 7 and a half. 27.50, yes, 7 and a half, 30 and a half, 30, gonna be 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 30, here, gonna be 30. Sold her 127 and a half, S3. Can we adjust her? Take 27 and a half off one. She needs to go with her friends.
I'll get her off. She get up?
Yeah. But I really don't want to bring her back. Can we just use the average? Okay, gotcha. You need to make a ticket for it? It'll be S3 resale from S1 at $1 a pound. Just use average, 10.56 dollar. S1, yep. Line. CWM. All right, guys, right there, here. What do we got here? Okay. 135, and 35, and 35, and 35, 37, and 37, 40, and 40, 42 and a half, gonna be 2 and a half, 42, 50, and 40, 52 and a half, gonna be 42 and a half, gonna be 2 and a half, 42, 5, and 45, 47, and 47, and 47, and 47, 50, and 40, 57 and a half, here, 47 and a half, here, sold. 145, Booker 12. Hi, JD. Skipping school today? Nine of them got 155 and 55 and 55. You get 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 and 55 and 55, 57, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 51 and 51 and 50, 51 here, 1 here, 2, 2 and 52, another 2, another 2, 51 2, 51 2 and 52, gonna be 2, gonna be 2, gonna be 2, gonna be 2, 51 2. Booker 151 13. You got any wheat, Chris? You got any wheat? Wheat project these guys are talking about. Dollar. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $2. You got any wheat? Sold 190 and tone. shade tree project? You got any shade? Fifty-two and a half, and 50, even 2 and 5, and 55, 57, and 57, going to be 60, even get 60, bit of 60, 60, and now 60 there, 7, going to be 60, even get 60 there, going to be 60, here, Booker, 157 and a half, 22.
Or is she coming back?
We adjusted her.
She went on
S1. Yep. We don't need her back. But hey, we don't need her back in the ring.
No, I already did a ticket on her.
I think you did it in here.
Yeah, we put a ticket through it. We just used the average weight.
How many head on there was draft?
9.
There was 14.
14.
14 total? There was 14 total.
1 by 2, $2. 210.20 and 210.20. You're going to be 210.20 and 220.30. You're going to get 30. You're going to get 40. You're going to get 240.50, 250, 240.50 and 240.50. You're going to get 240. You're going to get 250 and 240.50. You're going to get 50. 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 40, 50 here. Rose 240.
It's Rose. Roags.
Okay. 1 year and open. $250. 250, 60, and 250, 60. You're going to get 250. You're going to get 260, and 250, 60. You're going to be 250, 60. You're going to be 250, 60, 70. 270, 270, 80, 280, 90, 290. Terry, 280, 7, 11.
Oh, they're horrible. They're horrible.
They're dying Thursday.
What's Thursday?
It's supposed to be cold.
It is?
Maybe a freeze.
Snow coming? That's what Coy said. 152 and a half, 52 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 57, 57, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 60, and now 67 and a half, going to be 60, and 7 and a half, going to be 162 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 5, and 69, 5 here, 5 here, Booker, 162 and a half on number 22. Remember that big ice storm in 20 in this time of year in October? I do too. No.
Had tree piles. Trees everywhere.
135 and 35. You get 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, 37, 37, 40 and 40, 42 and a half. Good 2 and a half. 45 and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45 and 45 here. 750 and 47 and a half. 50 and dollar 50, 52 and a half. 52 and a half. Good 2 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 and a half and 52 and a half here. Kevin, that's 150 on 3. $55 and 55 and 55. 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 7, 7, 60 and has 62 and 2 and a half. 55 and 65 and 65 now 5 and 65 and 3 now 5 and 65 and 5 here 5 7 and 67 here 5 going to be 7 here. Chris 165 20. Eight-year-old cows, 10-year-old, 4 and 5 months bred. 135. 135, 40, and 35, 40, 40, 45, 45, 45, 50, 55, and 55, 60, 160, 55, 57 and a half, and 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57, 50, and 57, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, Cavness, 155, 51. Roy Burns. Familia. Baby with a baby. Who give 1,000? I'm going to say the cow and give you the calf. 1250. 1250, yeah, 12 and a half, 12 and a 12 and 10, 12 and a half, 15, and 1,500, and 1,500, no, going to be 1,500, and 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 17, 2, and 2,001, and 2,100, here, 2, 22, 3, and 22, 3, and 4, and 24, now 5, and 2,500, here, 5 here, 24, you get 5, and 2,500, here, 5 here, now 5, and 2,500, here, 5, 600, and 25, 6, 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, now 8, and 2,800, and 9, and 900, 900, 900, and 9, and 2,900, 900, here, going to be 900, going to be 9. Rose, 2,800. They're pretty nice. 6 and 7 months, guys, belong to that same outfit, that pair. So you're going to have a nice little red Angus baby. 2,000, 2,100, and 21, and 2,100. Bless you. 21, 21, 21, 21, 21. Now 1, now 2, and 21, 2, 3, and 22, 3, and 4, 5, and 25, 600, and 26, 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 26, 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 700. You're going to be 2,700, and 27. You're going to be 2,700. You're going to be 2,700, 27. Here you're going to be 7. Nitzel, 2,600. I'd like to have that Charlet, Greg.
It's going to get cold, and you're not going to check it out.
4, 5, and 6-year-olds, $1.50. 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, $35, 40, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 40, 40, going to be 35, 40, 40, 40, 35, 40, and 35, 40, 40, down, 40, 35, 40, down, 7.5, 40, 2.5. So at 140 D, 10. How come they didn't bring it more? Everybody getting full? Everybody getting full?
All the red upstairs.
Ah. Eight to 10 years old, or 3 to 7 months.
All right.
120. 125, 25, and 25, 25, 30, and 35, 35, 40, 45, 45, 45, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, now 5, and 65, and 65, and 65, 70, 1, 75, 80, and 175, 80, and 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85 here, 90, and 90 here, 85, 90, 85, 90, Chris, 185 on 5.
105 on the. Hey. Computer says 105. Hello.
8 by 5 lame. 120. 125, 25, 25 here, now 30, 30, 30, 125, 35, 35, 35, 35, 40, and 47 and a half, and 37, 37, 37, 37 and a half, 40, and 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40 here, D, 137 and a half, 2, 1, D1. Supposed to get cold Thursday? Let me see. $1.52 and a half, and 50, and 2 and a half, and 52 and a half, 55, 55, 55, 75, 57, 57, 60, and now 62 and a half, 52 and a half, 5, and 65, and 65, 65, 7 and a half, 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 67, 50, and 67 and a half here, half here, half here, Booker, 165, 22. $1.55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 3 no pun, 55, 60, and 55, 60 there, 5, and 65, 70, 75, now 80, 85, 90, and 95, 95, 95, 95, 2, now 205, and 210, go to be 210, 210, and 210, go to be 10, go to be 10, go to be 10, go to be 10, 210 here, Chris, 205, 3X, double X. Might have to look out. 2 out of 200. Anybody need a butcher cow? 135, and 35, and 37, and 37, and 37, and 40, 40, 2 and a half, 45, 47 and a half, now 47, 50, 50, and half, 50, 2 and a half, go to 2 and a half, 2 and a half, go to 2 and a half, 52, 50, and 52 and a half here, half here, Booker 22, 150. Pair 'em up. It'll be 50-something degrees Wednesday with a 4-week carryover. $135, and 35, and 35, 35, 35, and 35, 37, and 37, and 37, and 37, and 37, and going to be 35, yeah, 35 here, $1, 105, and 105, 105, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, now 5 here, $5 here, $1, $1 here, $1, $1, D, $1, number 1. Thank you. 5 years and 2 months, $1,000. 1,100 and 10, 11, 10, 11, 11, 1100, 1100 and 10, 11, 1100, going to be 1,000, 1100, going to be 1,000, 1100, going to be 1,000, going to be 1100, going to be 1,000, 1100. Chris, 1,000 on 4. When's the last time you bought a bred cow for $1,000, Chris? Some of them easy keepers. Still got them. You still got them? Oh, $5. Dollar bid, 105, and 105 here. Good to 105, get 5, get 5, get 5, get 5, get 5, now 5 here. 5 to play, 105, get 5 here, 10, and 110, 15 here, 20, 125, and 25, 30, get 30, get 30, 125, 30, now 5, and 35 here, 5 here, 5 here, S, 130 on 3.
Taking that over in the cop car. There's a whole line of cop cars east.
Why?
That cop that got, he was out helping somebody.
Yeah, I heard about that. He helped Shade Tree in his race.
Oh, yeah?
Dollar 55, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 75, 57, 57, 60, and now 2 and a half, get 2 and a 5, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, now 5, and $65, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5, so 162 and a half, Chris 20.
I know the family. Good family. What's my man?
2000, 2250, 22 and a half here, 2-year-old pair, 2250, and 22 and a half here, 500, and 2750, and 27 and a half here, 25, 600, yeah, Chandler, 2600, and 25, 2600 here, 5, going to be 6, 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, 800, and 28, now 9 here, 9, 3, and 3001, and 3100 here, 1, 2, going to be 31, 2, and 3200 here, going to be 2, 32, and 3200 here, 200, Kervonic, 3100. Six-year-old. 2000, 22 and a half, 22 and a half here, 2500, and 25, 27, and 27, and 27, and 2750, and 27, 7, going to be 27, going to be 27, going to be 2750, now 3000. 3,000, every 3, 3,000, every 3, and 3,000, going to be 8, 9, 20, 900, and 29, 3, and 25, every 3, 1, and 31, 32, 31, 2, 31, 2, 31, 200, and 32, 1, 2, 2, Kervonic, 3,100. She's 6 years old. She's 3 months bred. 2,500. 27 and a half. 3,000. 32 and a half. 3,500. 3,500. 35. You're out on line. 35 and 35 and 3,500, 37 and 37 and going to be 4 and 4,000 here, 4,000 here, 4,250 and 4,100 and 41, 41, 41 and 4,100 here, 100, 4,100 and 4,100 here, 100 here, 1 Chris, 4,000 on 8. 152 and a half, and 52 and a half here, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 5, and 55, and 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57, 50, and 57 and a half here, half here, D, 155, 1. $52 and a half, and 52 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, you get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and now 67 and a half, going to be 67 and a half, going to be 60, now 60 here, Chris, 57 and a half, 10. 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 60, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 250, and 2 and a half, 5, and 65, 65, 7 and a half, 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 67, 50, and 67 and a half, Booker, 165, 22. 7 years, 5 months. Daughter 52 and a half. You 2.5 here. Half here. 2.5. You get 2.5. Go to 2.5. 250. And 52.5 here. 5. And 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. You get 5 here. 5 here. Booker 52.5. 22. Seven years, 5 months, 2,000. 7, 5 plus, 2,000, 2,100, and 21, and 2,100, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2,100, and 2,100, 1, 1, and 2,100, 1, here, got 1 here, Chris, 2,056. Daughter 110, and 110, good to 110, good to 105, 105, 110, 115, 115, 20, and 21, 21, 21, 20, 20, 25, and 25, 30, 35, 35, 35 here, 35, and 35 here, 5 here, 5 here, Booker, 130, 22. Yeah. One 35, and 35, you get 35, 35, 35, 37, 40, then 2.5, 45, 45, 47, 47, 50, and 52, 9, 2, go to 2 to 5, and 55, 55, 57, 57, 57, 57, 50, and 57, 7, 57, 7, 7, 57, and a half here, Booker, 155, 22. Three by five. Got a blue eye. $1,000. 1,100. 12. 13. 14. 15. 1,500. 1,500. Rose. 1,400. $10 years and 3 months, 120. 125, 25, and 29, 30, 35, 35, 40, 40, 40, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, you get 5, and 45 here, 5, you get 5, you get 5, you get 5, and 5 here, Chris, 140, 16X. One 35, and 35, you get 35, 35, 35, 35, 37, 37, 37, going to be 40, you get 2.5, 5, and 47, 50, 52, going to be 2.5, you get 5, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, yeah, Jonathan, 55, and 55 here, 55 here, 55 here, Chris, 52.5, 10, Chris on 10, go right on, 2.5, 5, and 55, and 55, you get 5, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 60, and 2.5, you get 2.5, and 65, and 65, 7, 7, 67, 50, yes, 67 and a half here, Chris, 165 on 10. Bring me another one. Something like that. Hello, Clay Wing. These flies is what's going on.
So you guys like them in here?
Yeah.
I tried to send them all in.
Hey, college folk. Hey, hey.
6 years and 4 months. She don't look just right to me. Hard breather. $1. 105 and 105, 105, it'll give 10, gonna be 110, 15, give 20, 120, and 20 by 20 there, gonna be 20 by 20 there, gonna be 20 by 20 there, gonna be 20 here. He sold 115, Chris 5. Mr. Yost, you didn't bid on one animal today. Not one single animal. 7 by 5, 130. 135 and 35 here, 35 and 35, 35, 35, 35. You get 30, 40 and 35, 45, 45, 45, 2.5, 5 and 45, 45, 750 and 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 47 and a half here. So 145, Booker 22. Blue Jays. Blue bids. 135, 40, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 45, 40, 40, 35, 40, 35, 40, 35, 45, and 45, and 50, 50, 50, 45, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, here, Booker, 145, 22, 13. $1. $5 and $105 here, 105, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 105, 105 and $105 here, 105, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 105, 105, 10. So to 105 S1. A little quicker, John. Probably sending a Snapchat to somebody. 152 and a half, and 52.50, and 2.5, 2.5, and 55, 57, 57, going to be 60, £1.60, 75, going to be 62 and a half, going to be 2.5, 2.5, and 65, and 65, Booker, 62 and a half, 22. Seven years and 4 months, $1.50. 2.5, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half. Yeah, Rob, 57 and a half, 60, 2.5, 5. You're still out. Yep. 7.5. Gibbon 165. The last one was too. 8 by 5. $1.50. $1.52 and a half, and 50, 52 and a 5, and 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 60, and now 60, 62, did you get 60? $1.60 there, $1.60 here, 160, Chris, 57 and a half, 10. Oh, $1.50. $1.50. $1.50 here, 150, 120, 125, you 25, 30, 35, you get 35, 40, 45, 145, and 45 here, 45, you get 5, you get 5, you get 5 here, less, 140, 9. You got any baby kids? No. We got left. dollar. 105 and 105, 85, 85, 85, 85, 75, 80, 75, 80, 75, good to be 80 cents a pound, 75, good to be 85, 85, 90, and 95, and 95 a dollar here, $1 pound, good to be $1, good to be $1, good to be $1, good to be $1 here, so order 95, Chris X.
So we gotta walk all the way around the stadium.
$1.50. $1.55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, and $1.65, 65, 70, 170, 170, 170, and 70 there, 175, and 75 here, 75 here, sold 170, Chris, 8X. $125, $125, 30, and 25, now 30, now 5, and 35, 40, 45, 50, and 55, and 55, 60, $1.60 there, going to be 60, sold 155, Chris, 4X. $135 and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 35, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 35, 40, 40, 40, 40 here, Kevin, that's 135. You got a calf order tomorrow? $50, $60, $70, $80, $90. $80, Chris, 12, 14. $30. Close it back down. That's it. You guys go home. You don't have to go home, but you can stay here. See you guys. Have a good day.